Hi there, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Eric Chilton, joined by Maddie Gardner, working from home, Lauren Coleman, and Christian Morgan in house today.
Nice to have us all back together again today after a few days. Well, make sure you head over to the Facebook page during the show so you can chat with us during the breaks.
I missed you guys. I missed the people in studio and our folks on Facebook. We can't wait to see you there. You know, today was actually a big day for students across the Triad. Several school districts welcomed kids back to classrooms, and that includes Surry County schools. They welcomed all students, no matter the grade, back 5 days a week starting today. I spoke to the superintendent there, Dr. Travis Reeves, and he says he is excited to see this day happen.
It's been a journey, and we knew this day would come. We didn't know when, and we didn't necessarily know how, but we knew it would come. So today's a milestone for Surry County schools, our students and our families, our educators, to really pull all of our students back together under one roof.
The district brought kids back on a hybrid model, or Plan B, at the end of September, and then all elementary school kids returned in person at the end of October. But it's been since last March since all grades were in buildings. Dr. Reeves says they made the call to bring all kids back today after getting the green light from the state, looking at the local COVID metrics, and helping teachers get vaccinated early. The district also brought in 20 additional staff members to clean and nearly 30 new teachers' assistants to help keep class sizes small.
We're doing everything that we know how to do to make sure that our schools are safe and to make sure that our students are well taken care of, especially after the pandemic, or during the pandemic, and now after this time period when we're coming back together.
And several other Triad school districts brought students back today. That includes Alamance, Burlington, Davidson County, Lexington, Montgomery County, Elkin, and Yadkin County. Guilford County schools and Winston-Salem Forsyth County schools will bring all grade levels back in person next Monday.
Well, the federally funded mass vaccination site at Four Seasons Town Center here in Greensboro says they are opening up appointments for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine now. Now, Johnson & Johnson appointments will be from April 21st to the 27th. All you have to do is visit gsomassvax.org or call this number, 888-675-4567. If you didn't get all that, we have this information on our website, WFMYnews2.com. So for the mass vaccination clinic, it has vaccinated so far nearly 86,000 people here in the Triad.
Our state's coronavirus hospitalization number is continuing on a downward trend. Today it's at 904. It is the 5th day in a row this number has come down. The lowest number we've seen lately is 859, which happened in late March. We've only dipped below 900 twice since our major spike around the beginning of the year. Today's number is the 3rd lowest we've seen since last September.
Across the U.S., more vaccines are being delivered each and every day. On Saturday alone, a record 4.6 million doses were given out across the country. Now, Pfizer is seeking emergency use authorization for its vaccine for kids ages 12 to 15. But while more vaccine doses are getting to people, places like Michigan are still seeing a huge surge in cases. Michigan is now asking for more vaccines to be diverted to the state, but the Biden administration says it will not surge vaccines to hotspot states.
The answer to that is to really close things down, to go back to our basics, to go back to where we were last spring, last summer, and to shut things down, to flatten the curve, to decrease contact with one another.
The CDC says the rise in cases in the upper Midwest can be traced back to the variant that was first detected in the UK. It is being spread more easily, especially among school-aged children and those playing sports.
Well, nearly 1 in 5 COVID cases during the last week of March were kids under the age of 18. Now, that's an alarming rise in illness among children. It's produced a number of so-called long haulers. These are kids who are sick for weeks or even months. One clinic for pediatric long haulers say they are treating about 10 kids every week and trying to help them rehab their lungs.
I think most of us would have expected that really symptomatic kids with acute COVID were the ones that were going to have symptoms for months, and that is just not what we're seeing.
So far, about 6 hospitals around the country have started pediatric long-haul clinics to help kids still battling virus side effects. But so far, there is still no treatment to help those kids.
And as more people get vaccinated across the country, many people are asking what to do with those vaccine cards you get after your first and second doses other, of course, than posting them on social media. So let's talk about more of what you should and shouldn't do. The first thing you should do when you get your card is to keep it somewhere safe, just in case you need it in the future. The CDC is also recommending that people make a photocopy of the card for backup. As of right now, the CDC is not saying if you should or you should not get your card laminated, but as long as you have a photocopy backup of your card, it is okay for you to get it laminated just for some added protection. You can even get it laminated for free at Staples and Office Depot. But the number one thing you shouldn't do with your card is post it to social media. I know it's tempting, but both the FBI and the CDC have recommended against this. It's because scammers can use your information on the card if it's not blacked out and can steal your identity. You certainly do not want that to happen. If you want to see more tips, you can head to WFNYnews2.com.
Well, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. The Federal Emergency Management Agency is now accepting applications to cover funeral costs for coronavirus victims. The agency states on its website that it will provide financial assistance for COVID-19 related funeral expenses incurred after January 20th of 2020. To be eligible for funeral assistance, the death must have occurred in the U.S. and the death certificate must indicate the death was attributed to COVID-19. For more details on how to apply, go to our website, WFNYnews2.com. One COVID-19 treatment takes a big step forward. Regeneron says a clinical trial of its antibody therapy reduced the risk of symptomatic infections by 81%. The drug maker says it is now seeking FDA approval for it to be used as a preventative treatment. The therapy is currently used to treat adults with mild to moderate symptoms and high-risk children 12 years or older. A Virginia police officer is fired after a Black Army lieutenant was pepper sprayed and handcuffed during an illegal traffic stop. In a statement released Sunday, the town of Windsor, Virginia said Officer Joe Gutierrez was fired following the December 5th incident, which was captured on video. Following an internal investigation, the town said Gutierrez did not follow department policy. The town did not provide further information on a second officer involved in the traffic stop, but said the department is requiring additional training. The Army lieutenant who was pepper sprayed is now suing the town. And the western part of the United States may be entering its most severe drought in modern history. Right now, the U.S. Drought Monitor places 60% of western states under severe, extreme, or exceptional drought. As we head into the summer dry season, scientists say the stage is set for another escalation of extreme dry conditions, widespread water restrictions, and another dangerous fire season ahead.
Well, not a thing wrong with the weather today. A beautiful spring day across the Triad. We've got sunshine as far as the eye can see, not a cloud in the sky, and temperatures are warm this afternoon. It's a great day to be outside doing anything if you can stand the pollen. Maybe you can even see a little bit of a yellow haze on our weather camera networks across the Triad today. And of course, yes, the pollen is about as bad as it's going to get, really. Trees being the main culprit right now. We also have moderate levels of grass pollen and also some low levels of weed pollen starting to show up in the report as well. And if you've lived in North Carolina long enough, you know this is really not a surprise. It's bad this time every year, and the warm and dry weather, well, really only helps that pollen thrive. But I'll tell you, I really think this week is going to be about the worst week for pollen that we have in our area. Pollen usually peaks this week in April historically, and then things get a little bit better as we go into May. Kind of a rule of thumb, if you will, as things are getting green, that's when the pollen's going to be the worst. And then as we head into summer, once things have already bloomed and are green, well, pollen just gets a little bit better. So allergy sufferers, hang on for another week. Hopefully things will get better for you after that. It's a warm afternoon, 78 in Greensboro, 79 over in Winston-Salem. We have upper 70s closing in on the 80-degree mark for pretty much all of us across the area this evening. And we're going to stay warm through dinner tonight. We're still in the 70s for that dinner time hour and still in the 60s by bedtime. But under clear skies tonight, I expect us to drop down into the low 50s, and we'll set the stage for another warm and nice day going into Tuesday. It's a bit breezy early on, temperatures climbing into the mid 70s, partly cloudy skies tomorrow, but as we go throughout the afternoon, I'm not going to totally rule out a few sprinkles. Clouds will be on the increase, and we'll have another chance for rain, really the only chance of the upcoming week to look at on Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. Also maybe a low chance of a thunderstorm, but we'll dive into all those details in that 7-day forecast coming up in a few minutes. 4 to 5, we'll be right back.
Yes, you may get another mic check. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Commercial break number 1. Hey, Facebook friends. Gloria, Joanne, Wanda. Who else is on here today? Bobby's here. Brenda's here.
You know, they've been waiting for a long time, but now that restrictions are starting to ease, their time has arrived. We're talking about a new restaurant and wine bar in downtown Greensboro, but you have to put a lot of thought into opening an eatery during a time like this. I spoke with Jake Asaf, the owner of Lewis and Elm, to see how it all came together. Jake, I'm sure a lot of people who are thinking of opening new establishments, especially if it's in the entertainment industry, have been kind of scratching their heads about when do we do this? What kind of criteria did you use to make that decision to open on May 1st?
Hey, Eric, thanks for asking. For us, we really wanted to follow the governor's guidelines and pay attention to the numbers. We feel like if we can remove some tables and chairs and restrict our capacity, as well as, asking our guests to wear masks when they enter the building, that we can open in a safe way. We're going to take advantage of the outside of our space and put a few tables and chairs outside. So we know that we can do it in a safe way. And with the capacity now being raised to 50%, we felt like May 1st was a great time.
So tell me what we can expect when we walk in Lewis and Elm. What do you think will set you guys apart?
The first thing you'll notice is our decor. We spent a lot of time going over every little detail. So, a lot of design features I think are going to be unique. You're not going to feel like you're in Greensboro. Next, we've spent a lot of time tasting wine and beer, which is a really hard job, but somebody's got to do it. So we put together an eclectic menu that represents styles from around the world. Also, our food menu is going to be unique. We're going to put together a variety of small plates, interesting cheeses, fresh seasonal produce, and present it in a way, again, that I think is unique to Greensboro, and we're going to try to do it in a progressive way.
This is awesome. Can't wait to see you, Jake. Thanks for spending time with us today, buddy. You think about it, you do have to put a lot of thought into this, especially this time. But now that things are loosening up a little bit, he said that, they had to make some decisions. Do we do some outside stuff? We have to distance inside. It's not a huge place to start with. So he's thinking that they've got it all scaled correctly, so as things open up even further, they'll just grow and get to where they need to be. So a lot of planning.
Yeah, and it's
That's a smart idea.
It's a good thing that they started now, because they kind of get a leg up. Unlike some businesses had to backtrack to try to fix things, they're going into this knowing we need social distance, we need masks, we need outdoor seating. So that's a plus for them.
The way I think about it, he's talking about the timing being right. And Eric, you mentioned it, kind of starting out small. In a way, that could really be kind of the best case scenario. Hey, we're going to start out small and see how we do, and then as things open up a little more going into summer, we can grow and we can accommodate more people that way. So like you said, timing's almost just perfect for that.
Chilton, let me guess, he had you at wine and cheese.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
That's very true.
I'm excited. I've been following their progress on social media because I remember they were initially supposed to open, I believe it was earlier last year. So I've been following like how they've renovated the space and it looks so cool. And I'm just excited to see more places opening up in downtown Greensboro, not just ones that were open before the pandemic, but brand new businesses. I think that says a lot about the small business community and the support that they have in downtown to really get something like this up and going.
And they know what they're doing, because those of you that are familiar with, he owns another establishment called Rioja, which is a wine tasting bar in on Battleground in Greensboro. So they know what they're doing, and this is just the next step for them. So good stuff, good stuff. We will all be there at some point. We'll go check it out. All right, we're coming right back. Stay there.
Are you willing to harbor a fugitive? That's what Coach Lamont is asking today on Youth Day, and while most of us would probably say no, you'll be surprised at who this fugitive actually is.
Would you ever harbor a fugitive, someone proven guilty of stealing, killing, and destroying lives? Yeah, I hear you. Me neither. That is until I realized that I already was. I was the fugitive I was hiding. I was guilty of stealing my own peace, killing my dreams, and destroying my own destiny. Like so many of us, I was hiding the person that was guilty of doing it all. I had to realize that my own fears were holding me hostage and keeping me from truly living my best life. Can you identify? What areas of your life are you harboring the enemy of your soul? Expose that nature and refuse to allow it to take residence in your life. You can never fully be free until you stop harboring the weapons that are destroying your own destiny. Let go today and step into your freedom. It's waiting. This is Coach Lamont reminding you to have your best you day. I'll see you tomorrow.
Well, no complaints with the weather today other than the pollen, of course, but you have warm, you have dry days. That just makes the pollen worse, so you give a little bit to get a little bit. Of course, today, not going to be one of our warmest days of the year so far, but they stack up like this. Warmest day of the year so far was just last week on April 7th. We got up to 83 degrees, and then we had an 82 degrees back on April 8th. 81 ties 3 times for the 3rd place over the month of April, and then 1 day back into the month of March. So typically in the month of April, we have about 6 days at 80 degrees, so we're well on our way to doing that so far. Of course, today we have plenty of sunshine. Things are starting to get green. You notice that on our weather camera network here in High Point, where it's already up to 80 degrees, and most of us are knocking on the door of 80 degrees this afternoon. 78 in Greensboro, 79 over in Winston-Salem. We've got an 80 down in Lexington, and we've got a 78 over in Asheboro as well, but it's a pretty good feeling day of weather. Reason for that is even though it's warm, the air is very dry. We have dew points in the 30s. They were in the 50s and 60s over the weekend, so it probably felt a little humid to you. Of course, things are quiet on the radar right now, and zooming out on a wider view, really no weather to speak of all across the southeast. This low area of low pressure up over the Great Lakes region, that's still an area of low pressure that was associated with that cold front that brought us the rain and the storms on Saturday. Yeah, it's still lingering over land for quite a while. High pressure is in control of our weather. That's keeping us dry, keeping us sunny, but we are watching another area of low pressure that will start to move our way as we go into tomorrow. That will help our clouds thicken up, especially tomorrow afternoon. And then it does bring us a chance for some showers and maybe a thunderstorm going into Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. That's really the only day out of this week we're going to have to watch for any kind of rain. Of course, we'll dive into the details later on that. Tonight, under clear skies, I expect most of us to drop back into the low 50s again, and then pretty much the same story to the west. And for the folks in the foothills, maybe some upper 40s in some of those low-lying and rural spots that tend to get a little bit cooler than everybody else. Going into your Tuesday, the first half of the day, I expect it to still be a bit breezy, but there is sunshine. We get up into the mid-70s. Clouds will be on the increase. Not going to totally rule out a few sprinkles in the afternoon and evening, but most of us are going to stay dry, and anything in the way of rain that we see tomorrow evening won't be much to write home about. So mainly dry tomorrow. We're still in the mid-70s. We're still in the 70s on Wednesday with that chance for a few showers, maybe a thunderstorm on the way for the afternoon and evening. Going into Thursday, though, once that front gets past us, well, we cool things back a little bit to the upper 60s for Thursday and Friday. Still some questions whether or not we get some rain over the weekend, but it looks like most of the weekend will stay dry. Springtime in North Carolina, and that 7-day forecast just reiterates that fact. Your 4 to 5 is coming right back.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. But more and more colleges are divided on requiring students to get the COVID-19 vaccine before they return in the fall. The biggest challenge is if universities are legally required to. So far, colleges like Duke, Rutgers, Brown, Cornell, and Northeastern have all said they will require students to get the vaccine in order to attend in-person classes in the fall. But some places like Virginia Tech are leaving it up to students to decide for themselves because they are not sure if they can legally require the vaccine. It's because the FDA has only approved the vaccines for emergency use. They don't have full approval yet. While it's not unusual for colleges to require vaccine shots for other diseases, one legal expert from Harvard Law School says the emergency use vaccine is a legal gray area. And I will have to side with the experts on that one. I don't know about that. Emergency use authorization. I totally believe that this vaccine is safe. I got vaccinated. And I encourage others to do the same, but I have said before, and I'll say it again, I'm not so sure about making someone get a vaccine.
That's exactly what I'm concerned about. Like, can you do that? I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but I would say that there would be a lot of challenges to that if they tried it. I can tell you that I have not received any notifications for the twins yet for their two separate colleges that they are requiring vaccines, but they are changing the way they're doing student housing, but it's not based on whether you had the vaccine or not.
Yeah, I agree with the both of you. I think people should be encouraged to go and get vaccinated, but making it a requirement is just really a tricky area. I think schools could focus on making testing readily available. And I know some universities are even offering incentives to get the vaccine, like you don't have to wear your mask on campus after 2 weeks of getting vaccinated, things like that. But it's really just a fine line between requiring it and encouraging it.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to play devil's advocate here just because I have to, just because I want to bring up the other side of it. Because of the fact that, you know, a lot of people are trying to argue the fact that, okay, well, you already have to get X, Y, and Z vaccines to get into college already. So what's the big deal about adding another one? But again, you also have to take into account that it's so new, and that's just basically what it is. It's something so new. So I really don't know the right answer. But I just wanted to bring that other side into it because I know that's a point of argument, a point of contention.
That's a really interesting point because I didn't think about that. You do have to have vaccines before you can do, you know, school or colleges. That's interesting. We'll see how it all pans out.
And you know, when we got in college, it was just kind of already there in the rules. Yeah, got to have these vaccines, and we got them when we were younger. And so I understand the hesitation with it being something new. You're like, yeah, you have to get these, but this is brand new. So I know it raises pause with people.
But I also just want to point out that these universities are not saying students can't belong to the school at all. They're saying that they can't take in-person classes if they don't get the vaccine. So it is a little bit different. Now, I cannot learn online very well, but some students do. So I'm glad that they're making that option available for those who choose not to be vaccinated.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all this pans out. I'm sure we'll have lots of legal situations that we'll be talking about in the future. All right, 4 to 5 continues. The second half an hour is coming up. Stick around.
Hello. 1, 2, 3. Let's get into some of your headlines for today.
Facebook friends are listening in. They're spying on us, which is what we allow.
Upon further review, I like your little spotty shower idea for tomorrow.
Oh, you? Hey, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mic check. Hello, hello, hello.
Mic check for Facebook. This is how you check the mic. Check, baby, 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, baby, 1, 2, 3. That's all I got. That's it.
Hey there. Are you getting ready to go? Do you need to go? Hey, hold on. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together. Okay, Brad, what now? What?
I'll get with you if you're getting ready to go on TV, aren't you?
What do you need?
I-6 and the 5 is...
How many mic checks am I going to have to do today? I'm just kidding. I don't mind. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Mic check, mic check. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Calm down.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to the 4 to 5. I'm Eric Chilton, joined by Maddie Gardner, who is working from home today. Lauren Coleman and Christian Morgan are right here.
Hello, hello.
Yes, happy Monday. It is good to be back with you guys, even if I am stuck in the screen today. But I will say we are having a great time on Facebook. If you haven't joined us yet, head on over to the WFNY News 2 Facebook page. You'll find the 4 to 5 live stream. And I'm chatting with you in the comments section there. We need some more people. I want to talk to you guys today.
Come on over.
Join us. Well, let's get into some of your headlines for today with your 4 to 5 roundup. Greensboro police say a person who was shot in the parking lot of a McDonald's early this morning has now died from their injuries. Police say Chavez Vargas was shot in West Wendover Avenue just after 9 this morning. Police say Vargas was taken to a nearby hospital but died just a few hours later. Police say there is no suspect information at this time, so if you know anything, call Crime Stoppers. State lawmakers across the country are taking action to limit the emergency powers governors have, not just in the current coronavirus pandemic, but also during the future emergencies. GOP lawmakers are targeting both Democratic and Republican governors. Some Democratic lawmakers have also sought to limit the powers in their own party. Lawmakers say some states have been operating under emergency laws that date back decades and weren't envisioned for an indefinite health crisis. Wet n Wild Emerald Point is looking to hire 600 seasonal employees. The park will open Saturday, May 29th, after the longest off-season in the park's 36-year history. It is in need of lifeguards, food and beverage servers, retail staff, and much more. Wet n Wild will begin hiring for positions at the age of 15 years old, which is a perfect way for high school students to get a job for this summer. For more details, go to our website, WFNYnews2.com. And trash pickup is changing for thousands of Greensboro residents. Beginning this week, about 16,000 residents will have trash and recycling pickup days on different days of the week. The city of Greensboro says the days are being switched around because of increased demand and need to balance out workloads for each day. The city also says those affected should have received a notice in the mail. To find out if your pickup date has been changed, visit our website or call this number 336-373-2489.
Today marks the start of the third week in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, and today we heard testimonies from both medical experts and George Floyd's brother. Dr. Jonathan Rich, a cardiologist, took the stand and said Floyd did not die from an acute cardiac event, but rather said that Floyd's death was caused by the actions of former officer Chauvin. The defense tried to shift the blame onto Floyd's actions during the arrest.
It was caused by low oxygen levels, and those low oxygen levels were induced by the prone restraint and positional asphyxiation that he was subjected to.
If he had gotten in the squad car, he'd be alive.
Now, the defense is expected to call its own medical experts after the prosecution wraps up its case. The defense has not said if Chauvin will take the stand. The judge handling the case is expecting closing arguments to begin next week.
All right, back outside. Nice warm day of weather, folks. Hopefully you are spending some of it outside, of course, if you can stand the pollen. We have sunshine as far as the eye can see, not a cloud in the sky across the area this afternoon. You see that evident on our High Point weather camera right now, and notice how green that things are starting to get. Yes, of course, makes sense. Pollen is bad. Already 80 degrees out in High Point today, and this is what it looks like across all of the triad. Sunshine for everybody, warm temperatures for everybody, upper 70s, and some folks knocking on the door, some folks at 80 degrees across the area this afternoon. Air's pretty dry too, so it's a good afternoon. Feels good to be outside. Now, of course, this is just about as bad as the pollen gets. So many people have reached out to me on Facebook and said, oh, the pollen is awful. How long will it stay bad? And I'll tell you, honestly, I think that this week is going to be the worst week for pollen that we have. Kind of a rule of thumb is that while things are getting green, the pollen is the worst. Then once we get into May and things have already bloomed and things are green, well, the pollen gets a little bit better. But dry and warm weather for the most part for the next few days, that's going to keep the pollen levels in the high category. So allergy sufferers, just hang on a little bit longer. Relief will shortly come for you. Tonight, clear skies. Temperatures will drop back into the low 50s for most of us here in the Triad. Maybe some upper 40s back to the west and in the foothills and some of those places that tend to get a little bit cooler than everybody else. Now, going into your Tuesday, partly cloudy skies in the morning. It's another warm day of weather with temperatures in the mid 70s. Still a bit breezy at times, especially in the first half of the day. And I expect those clouds to thicken up as we go throughout the afternoon. Not going to totally rule out a sprinkle for some folks. Notice, here's how Futurecast plays this out. Clouds thicken up as we go throughout the afternoon. You can see a view of those spotty showers starting to pick up as we go throughout the afternoon. But the best chance for rain is really going to come as we get into Wednesday, especially in the afternoon, in the evening time frame. And some of those showers can linger over until we go into Thursday morning. Also, maybe have a low thunderstorm chance to worry about as well. Show you all those details and your full 7-day forecast coming up.
All right, friends, you see those Easter eggs in the middle of the ham right there? I made those for Easter. Can you see how my emotions changed in the year of 2020?
Emoji eggs. I love it.
Yeah, we got some smiley faces, some sad eyes.
Little mask,
Some
wearing
love.
the mask over here. That's pretty much is 2020.
Yeah, the whole rainbow.
I know. I mean, even the crying thing, right? It's been a roller coaster of emotions. A lot of us needed someone to talk to about 2020. Mental health apps became really popular over the last year. You could have everything from guided meditations to appointments with a licensed therapist. But, and there always seems to be a but with everything, right? Mental health apps aren't always covered by the same medical privacy laws like HIPAA. And even when HIPAA rules do apply, they may not cover all the data an app collects.
We didn't see these apps sharing details about your condition or what you're telling your therapist, but they may be letting other companies know you're using a mental health app.
So Consumer Reports looked at several popular apps and found that many of them sent information to third parties like Facebook and Google. This kind of data is often used for advertising or for other business research. And while it's a common practice, it may not really be something you expect from apps that deal with your mental health.
What companies tell you about what they do with your data is often pretty vague and confusing, and it's usually buried in privacy policies where it can be hard to find.
Yeah, you've seen those privacy policies, right? Consumer Reports says if you're using a mental health app, be sure it's clear about who actually is administering your care. It is worth seeking out licensed mental health professionals.
All right, science geeks, tech geeks like me, gather around the television, my friend. You've probably been following the NASA mission where they're exploring the surface of Mars. Well, the next big event comes up this week. They had to postpone the test of the helicopter they called Ingenuity over the weekend. That happens hopefully Wednesday. I spoke with project executive George Tayu about those challenges and what else is on the horizon as they explore the red planet. George, thanks for being with us today. I'm absolutely fascinated with this. Let's talk about the helicopter, because this thing is, I would think with gravity being totally different there, a lot of issues. What are the engineering challenges with that?
Yeah, so to do what we're trying to do with Ingenuity, it's a technology demonstration. You know, it's a high risk, high reward effort, and a lot of challenges to try to fly on Mars. The biggest one is the atmosphere itself. So you don't have as much density of the molecules to generate lift. And of course, it's extremely cold. So you've got to design your electronics and add heaters in there to be able to survive the night. You've got to have batteries to be able to charge from that small solar panel that we have on top and be able to do that survival heating. And of course, it's so far away on Mars, we can't joystick it here from Earth. We have to be able to load all the commands and send it to Ingenuity, and it has to be able to do its flight completely autonomously.
So everything is there, and you were getting samples and all that stuff, but does any of the equipment or anything ever come back?
The rover and Ingenuity helicopter, those will stay on Mars. That's their permanent home now. But one of the main drivers for the Perseverance mission is to be the first step of a Mars sample return campaign. So the rover is carrying about 43 tubes, just like this. And the whole reason for its mission, it has a rotary percussive drilled core on the end of its robotic arm. We'll use that to drill into the rock of Mars, take samples, put core samples in these tubes, and then place them on the surface of Mars. And then a future mission will come, pick up these tubes, turn around, bring them back home to back here to Earth, and we'll have actual samples of Mars here on Earth to study for generations.
All right, George, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. Good luck with everything. It's just fascinating. I could have talked with him for 6 hours. All right, keeping with this, I asked you on Facebook, would you go to outer space if you're given the chance? Why or why not? All you funny people were chiming in out there. Now, Bob Campbell says, absolutely. The experience is pretty much guaranteed to be life-changing. I think you're right. Leanne says, no, I'd actually like to see the money spent here to help people in need in our own country. Patricia Collins says, nope, you might get up there, something happens, and you can't get back. That is a possibility. Lori says, absolutely. Why? Because I would love to see all those views. And Amanda Gilliam said, maybe just get away from all the craziness here on Earth. She says, yes. Jim Allred, I love his answer. Nope, no good fishing out there, he says. We've talked about this before, but I think I would have to do it if somebody gave me a chance. You might have to knock me out for the ride up and back, but I do want to see that view.
Extra Dramamine for you, right, Eric?
Yes.
Yeah, that is so fascinating. I think if I wasn't a meteorologist, I would love to be an astronaut, but I'm nowhere close to even being smart enough to do that. It's just really fascinating. And I was really paying attention when he was talking about, you know, those tubes where they sample the material there on Mars and then they actually bring it back to Earth. That's just mind-blowing to me, and you know, it's cool. We're learning so much, and I think there's so much that we're going to learn about it too.
Yeah, most definitely. I would love to go to space if I had the chance or the money to do it. I mean, how awesome would it be to get a selfie in space with the Earth behind you? I just think that would be so cool, or just to be able to do somersaults in the air. But like one of the viewers said, it's definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So if I could afford it, I would definitely do it.
Yeah, that's what Photoshop is for, is a selfie. I'll put you with Earth in the background, Lauren. Just give me a selfie. Listen, maybe if you would have asked me this on Saturday, I would have said yes. But I had a very turbulent plane ride home yesterday.
Oh.
And that was just 30,000 feet in the air. So I cannot imagine being in space and having those nerves.
See, again, that's
I'm going to go no. I'm going to say no to this one, but ask me again in 20 years.
I'm a horrible flyer, but I love to travel. It's kind of the weird thing that I live with. But you would probably have to give me something to knock me out to get up there. I would love to go and I would do it, but getting up there and getting back would be terrifying to me. But I would have to
wake me up when we reach the final
Yeah,
destination.
please do. Just wake me up when we get to Mars. Yes.
Isn't it crazy about how he was saying the helicopter and that stuff will just like live up there forever and it stays there? So I wonder if eventually that we're able to take humans to Mars for trips, quote unquote, Eric. I wonder if we get up there and it's like the Titanic. You know, we know it's down there in the ocean. And we know those helicopters and all that stuff is up on Mars, but
true.
Will we see it? What will it look like?
And it's interesting because they said that they will gather those, I guess a robot obviously does this, gathers all the tubes, they launch them back into orbit, and they stay up there in orbit until our spaceship comes back. Now this is planned, this isn't science fiction, they are doing this. It will go back, gather those samples, come back so we can get core samples of the Earth, or not the Earth, but the, I guess you call it the soil, from Mars. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
Technology, wow.
I know, very cool. All right, let's take a break.
I'm glad we have smart people in this world.
I know.
Yes.
I told the guy
thank you.
when I talked with him, I said, you know, it's too bad you guys are just not so smart. And he just died laughing. It was good stuff. All right, we're coming back.
IQs
Stay
are
right
so
there.
low. True crime show fans, I may just have your new job, at least for one day. Magellan TV is looking for candidates who will stream true crime shows nonstop for 24 hours and document it for the world. The company is offering $2,400 and a 1-year free subscription for their service if the person completes the task. Now, the deadline to apply is May 5th at 5 p.m. Winners are going to be randomly selected if they meet all of the entry requirements. You can find out how to sign up and see the list of shows that you'll be watching in order on WFNYnews2.com. I mean, $2,400 for one day's work. I think I could do that. Here's the thing I love most about true crime shows, and you're going to think I'm a nerd. It's when they pull the news reports from when it happened.
Oh,
Because of
it is.
course. Right.
Well, it's so for me, I actually like those shows too. My wife likes them more than I do. I always pick on her all the time about this. But I could do it for 24 hours. But I was just telling Lauren, you feel like there's such a dark
Yes.
cloud over you after you watch these things. So after 24 hours, I got to be watching some Disney movie or something to get my mindset back right again.
So you don't watch them late at night, Eric?
Yeah, no, yeah. Well,
Okay.
that 24 hours, you're going to have to.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. You'll have to get in. I really like the forensic file stuff, you know,
Yeah.
stuff that was done in the 90s that has really old narrators and bad video. And
yeah, I could definitely do it as well. Me and Eric were just talking about it. I love shows like Snapped. I already watch all the marathons, so 24 hours I could do it. But as you said, Disney definitely got to clear your mind after watching all those crime shows.
It's a cleansing after
Yeah,
you've got to have
cleanse.
something happy after watching that. I like the science behind it. Christian, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I do like the forensic files because they explain how they do that. What I always think though is don't give too much of that away because
I
then the
know.
criminals know what you're doing. You know?
I know. It's crazy to me, you know, they're like, we found this one fiber from this
Yes.
red sweater that was bought 18 years before this crime happened at this store, and this person
true.
wore it. It's crazy.
So true.
It's addicting.
Yeah, it is absolutely fascinating. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, especially on long road trips. But you're right. Once the sun goes down and I'm like alone on a one-way road, if you're heading like out to the coast, you know, when you hit that stretch of the coast that you're like all alone on the road, yeah, you have to turn it off and like listen to some happy music.
That's when you sleep on the couch with one eye open. For the
Start turning
whole-
around.
Oh, absolutely.
That's right. That's right.
Checking your back at every turn. Who's
Have the
there?
night light handy.
Yes, flashlight. All right, we're coming back. Stay right there. My 2 cents is coming up. Oh, sorry.
What about me? Don't forget about me, Eric. I have good news. We have nice weather. It's a warm afternoon to be outside, if of course you can stand the pollen. It's about the worst that it will be across our area. I really think that this week is the worst for pollen. Then things slowly and surely start to get better. But you see this, we have beautiful sunshine all across the Triad right now. The warm, the dry weather doesn't help the pollen very much. Of course, as you know that. We have upper 70s, even some of us at 80 degrees this afternoon. So it's a warm afternoon of weather. Another day of that tomorrow, and then we're actually going to cool things down as we get into the end of the week. But taking a look at the radar, not a thing on it. That's good news to see, really, all across the southeast. Now, the cold front that moved through over the weekend, it's way, way, way off the coast. But the low pressure associated with that is still actually hanging out over the Great Lakes region. So it's been spending some time over land. Of course, it's not affecting us at all. High pressure is in control of our weather, mainly centered down to the south. So we stay mainly dry tomorrow, but this area of low pressure out over the Gulf is going to be working its way to us. So our clouds increase tomorrow, and we have a better chance of getting some showers, maybe a thunderstorm as we go into Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. But that's really the best chance of rain over the entire week. It also will drag a cold front with it. Once that gets past us, we see our temperatures fall back to the 60s for the end of the week, which is actually a little bit normal for this time of the year. I'll show you how Futurecast plays this out. Mainly dry tomorrow. The clouds will be on the increase, but as we go into the afternoon and the evening on Tuesday, I'm not going to rule out a few sprinkles or maybe an isolated shower, but that would be about it. Most of us are going to stay dry until we go to Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. Again, the best chance for rain out of the entire week. So here's how Tuesday stacks up. Partly cloudy skies. The clouds increase as we go throughout the afternoon. The morning hours could still be a bit breezy, but it's going to be a warm day of weather in the 70s, and then there's that isolated shower or sprinkle chance as we go into the afternoon and evening for tomorrow. Really not a bad 7-day forecast. Really the day to circle in your mind and on the calendar is going to be Wednesday for a few showers, maybe a thunderstorm in the afternoon and evening. We're cooler and we're dry going into Thursday and Friday. And that's a look at your forecast. Your 4 to 5 is coming right back after this.
Can you tell to move back? Can you move? Mic check 321, mic check 321. I'm at the Renaissance Center for Phillips Avenue.
Chef. And Wright. One officer fired her weapon once, according to the chief, and Wright drove away.
Hello, mic check 1, 2, 3. What's up, my friend?
Hi there, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New
Hi there, 1, 2, 3. I need to find something rather than Zyrtec to make me not drowsy.
It's time for my 2 cents. I love to travel. Growing up in an Army family, we moved around a lot, living in several states and even overseas. I just love learning about new cultures, languages, and food. Every year, me and a group of my college friends try to plan a major trip. But since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, we haven't been able to travel as a group. Come to think of it, we haven't met as a group in over a year. As more and more vaccines roll out, we are hopeful we will be able to do a group vacation next year. We're currently in the brainstorming phase, but safety is our top priority. Business Insider recently released an article with several options for planning a safe trip during COVID. Option 1, consider booking a private vacation rental like an Airbnb to limit interaction with others. Option 2, plan a socially distant road trip. Compared to flying on planes and riding on public buses, there is less exposure to people outside of your group while you travel to your destination. Option 3, camp somewhere remote, away from crowds. And option 4, work with a travel agent. Travel agents have the knowledge and expertise to help you plan a trip that fits your desires and your needs. As COVID restrictions roll back, more of us are itching to travel and get back to a normal life. But we must remember, safety first. Now isn't the time to let our guard down. We must continue to wear our mask, wash our hands frequently, and social distance to help put an end to this pandemic. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFNY News 2 at 5 starts now.
We have received your calls, emails, and seen your social media posts all about the recent crowds of up to